So I waited a few days before I talked about this because you never know when these things start coming out that how true they are or whatnot. But let's talk about this possibility of Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Davis in November. But first, if you're new here, please thank you and consider subscribing. And if you're already a subscriber and you're back, thank you very much for your support in the small community. Now I'm gonna play a quick clip, about 3 minutes, of both of them, where I think, the latest for Gervonta Davis and the best I thought that Shakur looked last versus Yoshino. So I'm gonna quickly run this quick clip for you so that we can get kind of context what we're dealing with possibly here in November, and then we're gonna come back and I'm gonna give you a couple of things on why I think somebody's gonna withdraw from this fight. Is gonna duck. But anyway, here it is, and then we'll come right back. Watch. Well, there you go. So that was two clips. Yoshino versus Shakur, where I thought was the last time that Shakur looked like a promising young fighter, where he had, good style, good rhythm, timing, power, ring generalship, and of course, Gervonta Davis looked amazing against Frank the Ghost Martin. Even in that fight, Frank did some good work, but as always, Gervonta kind of breaks down his opponent mentally and physically to eventually stop them. I like this fight better than the Loma fight because it's two fighters in their prime versus Loma. He's out of his prime, or at least he's like the bottom part of the prime mountain, right? And so what's that gonna prove if Tank just knocks out this guy, right? Loma, although low in fight numbers professionally, he has an extensive amateur career, and to finally get into pros way late. I don't know the circumstances behind why, but way late. All that mileage actually carried over, and I think his best years are behind him. I think he could still beat some of the world class fighters, in my opinion. Loma can, but the elite, what Gervonta Davis is, I don't think he's gonna be able to mess with those guys, and I think he knows it too, and that's what he ducked. Let's talk about this fight possibly happening in November. I think it's a better fight. I think it's the fight that will be the most difficult for Gervonta Davis, and not in the sense of power or anything like that with Shakur's side, but more of a puzzle box, right? Shakur's going to be a real puzzle box if he fights the way he's been fighting the last two fights. Now, if he fights like Yoshino, it will be a more entertaining fight, but earlier night for Shakur, right? But I think he's going to fight on the outside. I think something's really wrong with his hands, and I think that's why he's been fighting the last two fights in the way he has, and I think he doesn't want to say anything, but something's definitely not the same after the Yoshino fight. But in any event, so my theory is somebody's going to duck out of this fight, unfortunately, and I hope I'm wrong. But I think somebody's going to duck out, and I think it's going to be Shakur Stevenson. And I'm going to tell you why. In those interviews, if you're here, you probably watched Fanon. And Fanon had interviewed Kenny Ellis and Coach Ford. And with the Ellis one, Ellis was asking Shakur, would you take $6 million, which is double what he's ever made, the most he's ever made. And he said, of course I would. But in the course of that video now, Fanon, great job in actually looking out for the back end pause of that money for him. But he started like changing his tunes just slightly. Like, well, hey, hold on, I'm that dude too. So he kind of like, wait, I can't say 6 million. Shit, I'm caught. I'm saying 6 million. I think he's gonna ask for something like $8 to $10 million. And the Davis camp is gonna be like, nah, you're not a draw. You're not worth that. You're not worth that. You're not worth that investment. The return on that investment is not gonna be there. It's never been there for you. You've never drawn anything over. I don't think Shakur's ever been on a pay-per-view. I mean, free TV is one thing. Pay-per-view is another, right? I mean, look at Devin Haney on his own drew, I think, about 150,000, if that, right? Free TV, you're gonna have to quantify your numbers by saying, well, this is what the advertisers are paying for my fight, airspace on my fight. You can say that, like, look at how much they're paying. I don't think they're paying much. If anything, really. So I think he's gonna outprice himself yet again. I hope not, because this is the fight to make in November. Legacy for either one, because if Gervonta makes short work of a puzzle that is reluctant to engage and knocks him out or even decisions him unanimously, and then Shakur goes on to greater things that will solidify one of those pieces into Gervonta Tank Davis' already illustrious career. And if Shakur was to pull off the upset, well, we already know, especially if Gervonta keeps winning afterwards or whatever comes out of that Shakur was the real deal, at least, in that fight, right? During that fight. So I think it's a great fight. I hope it happens, but I got a feeling Shakur is gonna withdraw from the fight. But I hope I'm 110,000% wrong. But let me know in the comments down below what do you think. You think that Shakur's gonna actually pull out of this fight and pause and not go through with it and outprice himself? Do you think Gervonta for some reason is gonna withdraw from the fight? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, I'm out. Peace.